Oh, ladies and gentlemen, once again, here we are. Welcome, beautiful people, to this podcast edition of Our Issue. It's a chilly and lovely afternoon at Coronation Road, Old Kampala, Uganda. My name, once again, as usual, Mlondo Apollo, and greeting you from Refugee Law Project, a center for justice and forced migrants under the School of Law, Makerere University. The big issue we are discussing today is about access to higher education for refugees and marginalized people in Uganda. With me, I have three guests in the studios. Excited since they came in here. They want to share their experiences on refugee access to higher education with everyone out there listening to us. On my left, I have Mr. Sewanyanam Ahmed, the Assistant Academic Registrar of Admissions and Administration. He's also in charge of international students at Islamic University in Uganda. Next to me is Evelyn Tuyishemeze, a Burundian refugee who is a beneficiary of the Foundations for All program in Uganda. She's also aspiring to be a university student, implying that she's a key stakeholder in this issue. My last guest is Shalom Ishimwe, a Congolese refugee, also a beneficiary of the Foundations for All program in Uganda, but also aspiring to be a student in a university in Uganda. You are almost welcome.
Thank you.
For very many years, access to higher education, especially for refugees whose education was disrupted by conflicts, has been an uphill task. World over, for very many years, it has been between 1% and 3%. Just recently, it has raised to 5% of refugees who can access higher education. In 2019, UNHCR came up with a Refugee Education 2030 strategy, a strategy for refugee inclusion that sets to increase the percentage of refugee students who access higher education up to at least 15%. Evelyn and Shalom are here with us to share their journey to accessing higher education in Uganda.
Thank you. In my country, before coming here in Uganda, I was doing education at university, but unfortunately, I had to come here due to the situation in my country. So when I reached here, because we was used to French system, it is the language we use in education. So when I reached here, it was only English and Luganda, meaning that I had to cope with the situation so that I can continue studying. Reason why I applied, I came to Refugee Law Project to study English, after which when I finished the level 5, level 6 started, and then I was able to continue studying here. And level 6, which is Foundation for All, was there to bridge gaps between higher education and for those who didn't get opportunity to go to university so that they can reach university. So through Foundation for All, when I was done with the 8 months program, I was able then to go and sit for mature age entry.
Okay, thank you very much. My journey, I got here in Uganda in 2018, and by then I was in second year of electrical engineering at the university. So reaching here, of course, I had to stop, and then I tried to look for scholarships. Fortunately, I got one, and I was pursuing bachelor's degree in computer science, and I was doing it online. It's because I got it from a university that is based in US, University of People. But in 2020, Corona happened, with everything that came up with Corona. So because of financial difficulties, I was forced to sell the laptop which I was using to study. And then with that, as consequence, I wasn't able to meet the marks or the points that they required for me to continue with my scholarships, because they would always renew my scholarships based on how I performed in the previous semester. So that's how now I stopped from the university. Since 2020, I haven't been in the university yet. And by that time when it happened, I was like, okay, maybe I'm not meant to study in the university. So, but with interacting with different people, they keep encouraging you. You can still do it. Keep looking here and there, looking for opportunities to see how I can go back to school. That's when I even came across the FFA program. I tried. Hopefully, maybe one day, one time, I go back in school. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think you now have hope that you'll go back to the university.
Yes.
Then that's good. Just to proceed, the Refugee Law Project with partners, including University of Edinburgh in the UK, American University of Beirut, started a blended learning program seeking to see what it takes to prepare refugees and host learners whose education had been disrupted. And we have now come to a level where we have learned and have created a toolkit, but also a scoping tool to guide very many institutions that helps very many institutions to do the same to help refugees access higher education. Now, here we are. Shalom and Evelyn, kindly share with us your experience of this program. Let me start with Shalom.
Okay, thank you very much, Apollo. I was also among the first beneficiaries of this program, of FFA program. I remember the first time I saw the advert, I was very excited to join this program. At the beginning, I had expectations that maybe after this program, I will be able to get an opportunity to realize my dreams of going back to school or going back to university. And but after starting the program, explaining to us what the program will it be all about, of course I had to to kind of lower my expectations, because it was not like a final result that at the end of the program we shall be able to get scholarships or maybe get admitted in a certain university. It was more of like preparing us, getting us on a level whereby we are able to join the university, because most of us, we had spent a lot of years without being in universities. Some of us didn't even finish the high school, but then now this program was more like putting us on the level whereby we are now able to join the university. So now starting the program, we had some exciting courses. Even when you look at the courses we are learning, it was more of like preparing us to go back to school. Mathematics, English for academic purposes, study skills, digital skills, and understanding myself and others, which was my most favorite course, because for it's a course which can even apply outside of school life, because even while we're still studying, we're applying it. Now, as people are coming from the background of refugees who pass through different traumatic experiences, this course, which focuses more on mental health and psychology, it was more of teaching us how to cope with these mental health issues, how to understand ourselves. If I'm feeling certain way, what does it even mean? What should I do? And also it helped us to support others, and we were able to build that support system, which is very useful in the communities of refugees. So the other good bit about it, it was, like you mentioned, it was blended, whereby we would have some classes, physical and also online, and it came in while there was There was Corona. We had some lockdowns in there. I mean, it came with some challenges because we're not ready. We got the second lockdown found us when we were already studying, and we were forced to go back to home, and then we're studying via using our phones with internet problems. We were all struggling by that time, but it was a good experience. And then at the end of the day, we got to know that there is a chance for us now. Trying to get admission using mature age entry exam in Makerere University. Personally, I wasn't lucky to sit for the first exam because by that time I was not 24 years. I was not yet 25 years of age, and yet that's what they request for you to sit that particular exam so that you can get admitted.
Okay, that's very nice. Now let's turn to Evelyn.
So in Foundation for All, I was also exposed to how using a computer, how to study online, and how to do research online, which means that I learned a lot. And also I was given a computer to be using, meaning that after in my normal life, I can be able to use a computer because I got to learn it from FFA. But also in understanding myself and others, it helped me a lot, also helped my colleagues because we got exposed to mental health, and then we learned how to handle our trauma, how to help in our communities. And as a refugee fleeing, they come with different trauma, PTSDs, and then we got to learn how we can manage our situation and then keep moving on. English for academic purposes, I learned a lot also because we were exposed to different kind of writing skills, also making exposes. So in when you are applying, you're supposed also to write either an essay or something which talks about yourself. So it really helped. And after the 8 months that we studied, also mathematics, numerical skills, it was called numerical skills. So I was able to sit for mature age. It was not kind of easy, but I really enjoyed the experience of sitting at my career at a university that I respected a lot, and then was able to sit for an exam, which unfortunately I didn't pass, but I really liked the experience because for me, who studied in a French system, and also thinking about those who studied either in Somali or Arabic, and then you come to do an exam with people being exposed to different things from their primary to higher education. They also go diplomas to different kind, or may also be working different kind of fields. It is not very easy, but I really enjoyed, and then it really helped me a lot.
Okay, let's now turn to Mr. Ahmed. And for you being an academic, I want to share with you this question. In implementing this blended learning program, lots of learnings were noted, and this triggered the need for training of university staff from different departments, especially in the registrar's offices and administrators. And I remember on 21st and 22nd February 2023 at Golf Course Hotel, university staff went through a training on refugee rights and dynamics involved in access to higher education for refugees. So Mr. Ahmed, share with us some of your expectations before you came for that training.
Actually, when I came in, because the invitation was directed towards refugees, which was talking about refugees. In my university, because you remember in the introduction I said in charge for international students. So we took them under that bracket. So we did not identify or specifically have a special unit that works on refugees. So when I was coming in, I really wanted to know who the refugees are, maybe how I'm supposed to identify them. Because before I've seen laws of the constitution where they're supposed to be treated as Ugandans, but I needed to know more information. Also before, we've been knowing that it's the office of the Prime Minister that is in charge of the refugees. I didn't know that there was actually an organization that really cares about their welfare within the country. So when I came into this, the training we've gone through has been an eye opener. Okay, we had a lot of issues with them, a lot of problems, a lot of questions. But after this training, I feel like I have a lot of insight of how I'm actually supposed to handle the different issues regarding the refugees. So I'm really grateful that we had this training.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing with us those experiences. But just adding from there, access to higher education by refugees in Uganda has been a challenge, just as you have already seen it in the training. But efforts are being made to improve the situation. What was the situation like in your university before the training?
When you look at our advancement, the way we designed the advancement to reach out to the students or our clients, they are not tailored to the refugees. But when we make them for international students, there are a number of them that actually come in. And after they are into the system, initially as they come in, we register them as international students because that could be from the form we give them to do the application form. It doesn't clearly have that status of a refugee. We have international. And that refugee, because they identify themselves with the host country or their home country, as they are filling the form, when they reach that section of nationality, they can't write I'm a refugee. They actually put the home country as the nationality. So that's how we've been taking them up at the process of admissions. But when they're already in the system, as they apply, because every international student is required to have a visa. So at that moment, that's when they come out and say, no, I'm not an international student. I'm a refugee, so I don't have to pay the visa. That is when we actually get to identify them in the system as refugees and not international students. But as regards the question, we didn't have any advancement that are tailored to them until now. After the training, we know that we must have special programs, campaigns that reach out to the refugees so that we really get to serve them.
Now let me turn to you as Sharon and Ivy. One of the main barriers to accessing higher education is lack of financial resources. Because actually, as refugees, usually one of the biggest problems is access to finances. Sharon and Ivy, you have shared with us your experience. What do you need to realize your dreams of access to higher education?
For me, apart from financial, because most of the time it depends on the capability of a person. I may have money for school, but when my family is struggling. But the first thing I think that we need is scholarships. But when it comes to scholarship, most of the time, scholarships comes with some requirements. They come with age. They also come with the points, the marks. And if a refugee come here, you know that the first thing we do is acquainting our document into Ugandan system. Sometimes our marks are put on low or high. I don't know how they do it. So you find that a person was well performing at school, but the marks are not the one they are expecting. But they don't consider the vulnerability of a person. So if they were to reconsider a refugee who is living a life which is really not well, and the person who is well living, they can't get the high marks because they study in different situations. So for me, yes, scholarships are really needed, but if it is possible that they can lower the marks, if they are receiving those of 10 points, 11 points, who are well living, but they should also think about those who have 9 or 8, but they are really vulnerable.
But now let me come to you, Sharon. For you, because depending on your discussion, and your submission, you still have the dream that you want to go to the university and access education and pursue your dream. What exactly do you need?
It's more of what Evelyn has mentioned, that in terms of scholarships, one, it's obvious. I don't have, right now, I don't have means which can allow me to pay tuition fees. And I think it's same with a lot of people in our community, or with a lot of refugees. You can imagine someone who is still struggling to find what to eat now, to pay millions and millions every year. It's not easy, with other requirements which come along with the university life. That's one, financial means. But also now, without not only looking at my side, or maybe if I try to compare my experience with experiences of other young people that they are facing in our communities. Like Evelyn mentioned about document. There is one of equating, which is still an issue. First of all, it's quite expensive, and also the process of equating, it's quite hectic. First of all, for you to translate that document, you need to go to Makerere University. It's the only place which is eligible to translate it. Now imagine someone who is 500 kilometers away from Kampala to come here, and then they equate, and they even pay certain amount of money. So it's a lot of money. But the point which I want to tackle on this,
and I remember they charge. I also remember they charge per page.
Yes.
Exactly. They charge per page. Now imagine different pages. That's a lot of money. And it's not only at Makerere, you even have to go to UNEB. Now for certain cases, like for Congo, you even have to go to your embassy. And they are telling you to go back to your embassy of the country which you even fled. So there are still certain things which need more improvement. But the exact point which I wanted to tackle, they should also consider the people who don't have documents, because the experience which you have to pass through for you to become a refugee, you don't wake up in the morning and then you start preparing for you to flee your country. Something just happened, broke out during the night, and you find yourself, you are running without even know where you are running to, something like that. Certain families, you even run, like one family member passes here, the other one passes there. You're still having people who are yet to meet, and yet from the stories they hear that all of them fled. So now this person who didn't even prepare to go with his own children or with his family relatives, they are asking this person to bring birth certificates, to bring all the reports where you're learning, to bring your diplomas and certificates. I mean, it's a challenge, and I understand they also need to make sure that you are studying. But now that's where these bridging programs come in, and that's why I would like even request different people or different organizations and institutions to think about now this kind of bridge programs, like this one of Foundation for All program we're talking about, which can help these people who don't have the documents now to be able to be eligible to go to university, like mature age entry exam. It's a very good entry scheme, but the only issue, again, it's because it has certain age. That's one, 25 years of age. Now imagine I fled when I was 21, so I will have to wait 4 years for me to be allowed to sit for that exam. And that's a lot of years without being at school, and even sitting for that kind of exam. It's going to be very hard for me because I've spent a lot of time without being in class. So those are the things which needs to be considered again, like for these institutions, for refugees to also get access to higher education. Before I finish, I think there is also need more of awareness creation, like about refugees affairs and forced migrants in general. We are talking about refugees, but How about even the asylum seekers? Because there are certain people, like I know friends of mine who are Eritreans, they have been in Uganda for 3 years. They are yet to get a refugee status. So this person is actually not even allowed to go to university because he's not a refugee yet. So they have to create awareness about, forced migrants' life so that they are able, this university, they are able to create a friendly environment in their institutions whereby now even these refugees, they are open to come to these universities because yes, there are certain people who don't have financial means to pay for it, but there are even those ones who have it, but they feel like if they go there, they'll be discriminated. And to be honest, even in the systems, when you are even asking, the first thing you will show, of course, your documents, and they will tell you they don't know the ID. And yet that ID was provided, that refugee ID card was provided by the government of Uganda. Already you feel discriminated. But if like this staff of universities, of different institutions, they were able to get like more information about who is a refugee, and even the lecturers, who is a refugee, what are the things that refugees need, like in terms, okay, how do I deal with them? Some of them are still struggling with PTSD. Some of them, their English is not yet up there, and yet they are expected to be on the same level with other students. I think maybe we can do more of awareness creation, and also to finish, even these universities should disseminate the information more to different places, up, down there to the refugee settlements. And even these people who are providing scholarships, there are very many young people who performed very well, but they don't get to know about these few scholarships that we're even talking about. So in brief, that's what I would say. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, when we are submitting, I got to understand something also, that I think even the universities need to create support systems that makes refugee students be welcomed, sustained within the university, but also complete. Because if these systems are not there, probably somehow they will not complete. Okay, let's go to Mr. Ahmed now. You attended the training, and during this training, when Refugee Law Project was training university staff on access to higher education for refugees and dynamics involved, you were a part of it. What were some of those key take-homes or key takeaways after the training?
So there are so many issues, but I could say right now as I go, I really need to sit down. First thing, I need to identify and separate an international student, or rather a refugee from an international student. That's one. And being a refugee, okay, right now I know they have so many needs. Maybe some of them have been coming across them, but not giving them the right attention. But from this training, then I know I have to identify this is a refugee, this is a needy person, okay? Just being a refugee, I know they need something, I need to help them in a special way. That is one. And as universities, yes, they are providing education, it's a service, but especially for the private universities, it is a business. Because after knowing that in Uganda there are 1.5 million refugees, so I know for me as a university, I can really go into that area and try to get more students from there. For me, it's business for me. So I know that, and still I'm providing a service. So I know there's an area that has not been given attention. I need to go there, tailor my adverts, tailor the education, my curricula to serve them, so that when they finish, they can go back and serve the home country when they get a chance to go back.
Thank you very much for that submission. I want to hear from you, Sharon. You took part in this training and you shared your experience. How did you feel sharing your experience with the university staff and academicians where you want to go?
Thank you very much. Sitting with this university staff in the training, it really made me feel good because I got chance to sit with them directly and interacting with them. and also having this opportunity whereby I'm able now to voice out my ideas, not only mine, even like raising the voice of other people whom we share the same cry or the same issue. That was good. But the first thing which made me feel happy is first of all listening from them. How do they even take us? Because it's from that training which I got to learn that they actually don't even know much about refugees. That's why they even consider them to be international students. And yet, for the government of Uganda, for them they say, refugee and national, it's the same. And yet they know that there are even other foreigners. Even these refugees, they are foreigners, but for them, they consider them to be like other Ugandans. But when it comes to these institutions, they consider them as internationals, and that's something which needs to be done. That's why I was very happy to be part of this training, because from the interactions we had with them, at least you could see that now they understand why even these refugees should be considered as other nationals. Why? Because first they read from the laws of Uganda, and they go to understand that actually the government consider them to be like nationals. And secondly, to understand the experiences of refugees and their needs. Now they could understand why they should take care of them in a special way or in another way. Don't generalize them with other students because they have their particular experiences. So that made me feel good. And also finally, like their takeaway, how you could see that at the end of the training that everyone now is ready to go in their respective universities and do something about refugees, to see that even the refugees are able to come along in their institutions.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great. Dear audience, sharing with these people, I feel like not stopping, but I have to. And as we conclude, I want to take this question to both of you, but I'll start with Ivy. Do you have any message that you want to leave behind for any stakeholder? It might be university staff, or guardians or parents, refugees, your fellow refugees, donors, civil society, government.
Yes, thank you. First and foremost, I would like to first thank Refugee Law Project and Edinburgh. Why? The first time we sat for mature age, we complained a lot about the general knowledge questions that they bring. They were much focused on Uganda history. And then I remember when we were complaining last year, they were able to talk with different universities, and then I saw a change. General knowledge was not more about Uganda.
That was in the aptitude exam?
Yes.
It was in the aptitude exam of
Yes.
mature age?
Yes.
That's great.
And that was a very good thing to see a change, but unfortunately we were not informed, and we were prepared much and more on Uganda history, as we spent too much time focusing on full history because of the thing we faced in the first place. And I can say that in the future, those who will sit will know that it is not more on Uganda or what, because the voice was able to reach universities, and then we saw really a great change. And I would also like to thank University of Edinburgh, American University of Beirut, MasterCard Foundation for supporting us. And I would like also to ask if it is possible that because we learned much and more in Foundation for All program, but it was a 1 year, 8-month program and one cohort. So we've been thinking about what is next. Maybe for us who studied during that period, we can think that it is because we sat and then we were not able to perform as they expected. But what I would like to inform is like it is very, very not easy for a person who studied in different system and then to sit for 8 months studying different kinds of either French, math, digital skill, study skill. You are new in the environment and then be expected to perform very well. Each time that we sit for that exam, we see new things, but we also learn. But the thing that I got to learn is that if it is possible that they put on place some study short courses so that a person who needs really to go for higher education or tertiary education be well informed and keep the mind fresh so that when it is time for them to sit, they really know what to sit for or which course they are going to pursue because they've been, for example, studying those short courses or online because during FFA program, we were exposed to online studying. So if it is possible that they put across some online also program and then we be studying from there, then when it is time for mature age, we go with a fresh mind. Well, know that we are going to sit for an exam. And another thing to say is that we really appreciated everything that they did for us, and then our hope are not gone. We shall keep trying and trying, and then I know that we shall get one day a scholarship.
So are you ready? Are you ready in case this year resources are available? You are ready to go and do the exam again?
For me, the thing that I loved even when we were seated there, because when we saw the general knowledge paper, I remember that the courage that we had at that period it showed that commitment because we could even go back home at 10 p.m. knowing that you are studying something that you are going to perform well. So after seeing the general paper, coming things that we are not expecting, we looked at each other and we say, get ready to pay for yourself and sit again. Meaning that even if we sit for how many times, we know what we need, and we have that in mind that today if I don't pass, tomorrow I will pass. And another thing that I needed to say is when we go there to register, we go with a course in mind. But when we reach there, we find that the course that we've been prepared for some months, it is not there. So if there is a possibility that we get to know before, or there is a way that the university can show the course that are available for those who are sitting for mature age, and then they be prepared before, it could be very easier for them to perform very well.
The universities that actually attended this session, most of them, as they were deliberating, as we were presenting, you'll find that we all had the same problem, that we all identified the refugees under international students. So I'd like to call out to all the other universities, please go in, check your enrollment and find out who the international students are and who the refugees are, and please differentiate them. These are two different groups of people with different needs. Okay. I remember after finishing, I talked to Madam Martha. I told her, please, why didn't you invite KIU, Kampala International University? It has a lot of international students. I feel they really missed out on this, and we need to reach out to them. So there are a lot of refugees there which could be branded as international students. So we need to reach out to them also, so they get to benefit from this, and also the students get to benefit from this. Lastly, we are talking about universities, but there is a bigger community there where the refugees get to interact with the outside community. If you can take a flashback, I think it was last year when the Afghans came in, when the president invited in those refugees from Afghanistan. You remember the political climate, the newspapers, how people were reacting to that. So we still have that stigma. And I feel like there's a lot that really needs to be done by the universities. Already we are being involved, the schools, the secondary schools, the media houses, so that people get to know that these are brothers and sisters that really need our attention. They need our help. but not just looking at them as foreigners who are coming to encroach on our resources. So we need to look at them as our friends, our brothers that really need our services and help.
Okay, let us hear now from Shalom. What message would you want to leave for any stakeholder out there?
Okay, thank you very much. My message, I think first, it's more of echoing what Evelyn was saying. I think we need more of these bridge programs. It was a very good one, which Refugee Law Project was able to do. But first of all, for the resources which were around, they only had it in Kampala and Kirianong. What about other settlements? I'm very sure even them, they also want it, but even RLP was able to, to implement it only one year, one cohort, and yet from what we're hearing from our colleagues outside, everyone, even up to now, they are still asking when are they going to register the next cohorts, which means many people want it because of the benefits. And also another thing which I think I can tell, like universities, mature age entry exam scheme, it's a very good one. It's a very good idea. It's as if it came for the case of refugees, which we're talking about, these ones who don't even have the documents. But there's still some clauses which I think can be improved. One, it's on the issue of age. I have a colleague which were in the same class. Yesterday, she was telling me that because she was young, but she got to learn that in IU in is it International
Islamic University in Uganda.
Islamic University in Uganda. She got to learn that for them, their mature age entry exam, they require 23 and above. So she went and sat and passed. Now she's ready to go to university. So which means that there are very many people who can benefit from them, but the age also it's kind of obstacle. Even my own sister, she's now waiting. She has been waiting for 3 years since 2021. She's waiting until she hits 25 so that she can go to sit for mature entry exam in Makerere University. So that one of age should be considered. And also it's more now of donors to also look around scholarships. Most of scholarships which are available here in Uganda, they are focusing on outside. One, there is the one of SRP, which take people in Canada, and then also the one of Duffy, which is more of local. But I would encourage donors. Yes, it's good also to give these scholarships outside. But even here, even if you can even bring partial scholarships to support, to see how even these young people, they can also, we can also realize our dreams. Being a refugee shouldn't stop someone's dreams and life. That's why if you can play your part to help someone to get education, I think it would be very good. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Depending on the messages I see you are leaving behind, they have implications. One of the things is making collaborations out there, local and international, but also it has financial implications, and then donors have to come in. But also to many institutions and universities, both public and private, they need now to engage in reprogramming so that we now look at refugees and forced migrants deeper and make sure they are part of the system. And for you, Sharon, we are so happy that you passed the aptitude. We are looking forward to the subject-based results. I know they will come back soon, and we see you join the university. As we conclude, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to us and being patient up to this time. But the reason as to why we are putting a lot of emphasis on higher education for refugees, inclusion of refugee learners into higher education gives a richer academic experience for all students, social cohesion, and is essential for the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goal 4 specifically. It is, and now, all of us as partners, as stakeholders, we should take it on ourselves as our own duty to play our own roles to achieve this goal. Now, before we conclude and go off air, allow me to present this special thanks to University of Edinburgh, American University in Beirut, Makerere University, where we belong, but also every listener who has listened to this podcast this day. You can catch up with us on our website, which is www.refugeelawproject.org, or any of our social media platforms of Refugee Law Project. I want to thank you all. Thank you so much, Mr. Sharon. Thank you so much, Mr. Ahmed. Thank you so much, Eve, for being part of our issue this afternoon. Thank you so much, and thank you so much to our listeners. God bless you.